Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Monday, November 1st live stream for studentloanjustice.org. My name is Alan Collins. I'm the founder of Student Loan Justice. We're glad that you found us. Welcome. I'm going to get right into it here, folks. If you have any questions or comments, throw them out. So here's where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have a good bill in the Senate, S-2598. That bill will return bankruptcy protections to federal student loans that are more than 10 years old. It's a good bill. It's not a perfect bill, but it's a good bill. We also have a bill in the House, H.R. 4907, which will return bankruptcy protections to private student loans. Again, it's not a perfect bill, but it's a good bill, worth fighting for. So S-2598 is the furthest along. So the sponsor is chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Dick Durbin out of Illinois. But there are two key co-sponsors on this bill. John Cornyn, a Republican in Texas, also Senator Josh Hawley, another Republican, believe it or not, in Missouri. So right now is the critical sausage-making time for this bill, S-2598. We need to be pushing extraordinarily hard to get this through. Now, let me back up for a minute, and let me just say, we started the petition calling for the president to cancel, not bankruptcy, cancel all federally owned student loans. That's 90% of all student loan debt, period. We started that petition, and I'm glad to report that we've got like 3,000 signatures at this point. That is what we are fighting for. That there is no doubt. This lending system is absolutely and utterly failed. And the best thing for all involved at this late date in the death spiral of this lending system is for the president to simply cancel all the loans. He can do this without needing congressional approval, without needing congressional appropriation. In other words, no money needs to be drawn from the Treasury. And he can do this without adding even a single penny to the national debt. So that has to happen. But here is the political reality of this whole deal, folks, and this is maybe the most important thing I'll say to you tonight. I don't think we will see meaningful loan cancellation from President Biden unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. Look what Biden's done. Before the election, he sounded like he was going to cancel some loans. Since the election, he's like, oh, no, I won't be doing that. We've seen him sort of pretend to cancel loans, like the revamp of the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Okay, that's maybe not nothing. That's somewhat significant, barely. All the other loans he's canceled have been loans that should have been canceled many years ago. And look, right after the election, President Biden was like, oh no, I won't be doing that. Oh no, I don't think I have the power to do that. He's doing everything he can to not cancel loans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you, if we had the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, the possibility of 10, 15, 20 million, or maybe more, people filing for bankruptcy for the crime of going to college, I might add, that becomes a very real possibility. Now, in an average year, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason. So I guarantee you that the President, Biden, does not want to be the guy on whose watch 15, 20 plus million people flooded the bankruptcy courts to the point of seizure. That doesn't really stimulate the economy. The people that get forced into bankruptcy aren't particularly thrilled. They're not going to be falling over themselves to vote for whoever the president is. No. The president doesn't want to be that guy. So the threat of bankruptcy would compel the president to actually cancel loans. Very important political dynamic there, folks. We can fight for loan cancellation till the cows come home. And the way the political dynamics are set up right now, the best we're going to see, the very best we can expect, is this up to $50,000, and I'm sorry to say this, nonsense. It's nonsense, folks. We're thrilled that Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer, other members of Congress, and others have embraced the concept of canceling student loans by executive order. But guys, up to $50,000 could mean anything. And if the Department of Education and the student loan swamp people, if they have their way, it will mean almost nothing for almost everybody. It'll be like, yeah, up to $50,000, but no, you only get like $8,000 loan cancellation. And oh, by the way, during the year that we were screwing around with this, we added $8,000 onto your loan in interest anyways. So, congratulations, right? That's what we can expect. Up to $50,000 could mean anything, and it will mean nothing if the swamp people have their way. With bankruptcy protections in place, however, all of a sudden the game changes. Everybody in Washington, D.C. all of a sudden is like, oh. Okay, we've actually got to start doing our job now. We've got to cancel loans. We've got to cancel loans in a very widespread manner to avoid seeing this whole thing go dissipate into a mist of illegitimacy, which is going to happen anyways, regardless. No matter what anybody in Washington, D.C. does or doesn't do, this lending system is toast, guys. It's history by all rational metrics and measures. Look, even before the pandemic, 80% of all borrowers, 4 out of 5, they were never going to be able to repay their loans. Like half, and again, this is before the pandemic, half were not making payments at all before the pandemic, before COVID. Half. 30% were paying, but their loan balances were going up, not down, up. So we were headed for a default rate before the pandemic, something like 75, 80%. So that has only gone up, guys. The pandemic was not great for the economy. A lot of people lost their better jobs. Maybe they got other jobs since then, but they got worse jobs and stuff like that. What I'm telling you is the lending system was toast before the pandemic. Like very few, half the people weren't paying before the pandemic. Today, almost nobody is paying. And it's been a year and a half now. And so come February 1st, if and when they try to turn this lending system back on, almost nobody is going to resume paying, and they shouldn't. I mean, truly, in my humble opinion, nobody should ever pay another dime back on these federal student loans. It is a failed U.S. policy experiment. We are the unfortunate guinea pigs. It failed. The data is now in. This federal lending system is a national threat. Can't be allowed to continue. So if you're contemplating starting paying again, you're not looking forward to it, etc., I could only urge you to just think about your situation. Were you ever going to be able to repay your loans? If you weren't, then why would you resume paying? If you're afraid of getting your wage garnished, if you're afraid of having to live off the grid or whatever, all I can say, and everybody can make their own decisions, but think about bulletproofing yourself, like the vast majority of people are. Because, look, guys, come February 1st, if even 25% of the borrowers resume paying, I'll be surprised. So there's ways to avoid wage garnishment, by the way. You can be a 1099 contractor. You can tell your employer what a scam this lending program is. Tell them to require a court order for the wage garnishment. I can almost guarantee you the collection goons who are trying to get you to do that wage garnishment. And by the way, they are collection goons. They're not the Department of Education. They would love your boss to think they are. And they send all these official looking letters saying like, on behalf of the Department of Education, blah, 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 blah. They are not the Department of Education. They are boiler room goons, collection gimps, trying to separate fools from their money. If you can convince your boss to say, no, this doesn't sound right, send me a court order if you really want that wage garnishment. The chances are overwhelmingly likely that these collection goons will go away and they'll look for easier prey down the list. So, at some point, people need to toughen up. Don't feed this beast. The founding fathers are on our side, by the way. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Robert Morris, financier of the revolution, they were all being absolutely screwed by debt to British banks and merchants and friends of the king. That's why they called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution. Think about that. I mean, not just not the Bill of Rights, the body of the Constitution itself. Read it. Go to Article 1, Section 8. Look at Clause 4. It's the list of enumerated congressional powers. There's the power to declare war, the power to raise an army, the power to create a judiciary, the power to build a navy, the power to coin currency. All those powers are on that list. Well, above all those powers I just mentioned is the call for uniform bankruptcy laws. I kid you not. So this has been violated uniquely for student loans. And guys, I'm telling you, it's not a constitutional thing what they did. I'm beside myself that no lawyers seem to have the balls to challenge this. At least no lawyers with standing that can make it up to the Supreme Court. I don't know why that is. I actually begged the director of the ACLU to take this case on, and she just refused. She didn't give a good reason why. She just did. So I don't know what's going on with jurisprudence in this country, and I'm actually past the point of caring. What's important to know is that the lending system is done. The founding fathers are on our side, and quite frankly, you should be proud to not resume paying into this beast. Don't feed the beast. But anyways, people can make their own decisions. I'm going to keep it pretty short tonight, guys. I'm going to ask you to do exactly one thing. It's kind of a loaded question, but will you please go to our website and go to the daily updates, click on that, and do the past month worth of daily actions. It will help tremendously, and it doesn't take long at all. You can probably do a month or even 2 months worth in like less than a half an hour. It doesn't take long at all. It's kind of fun to do, actually. It's mainly a Twitter thing, so if you have a Twitter account, that's the main thing. Couple of email things in there. Maybe you might have to make like one phone call. But generally, these daily actions are very, very, very easy to do, and they help tremendously when everybody does them. So like right now, guys, we're hitting the bankruptcy thing extraordinarily hard. And whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy, that's not even the point. The point is getting the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. So they're going to be marking up our bill, S2598. It could be any day now. I think it will be this month. I'd be surprised if it didn't happen this month. Very, very important that we push this. We're off to a great start, but we need your help. So please, just go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, do a month's worth of our daily actions. So, you know what? I'm going to leave it there at that. I think I've said enough tonight. Things are getting very busy, guys. The sausage is being made right now. Now more than ever, if you want to get these loans gone, it really starts with you. It does. There's no substitute for your actions. Like no money that you could donate, nothing that you can say. What we need are your actions. There's great power and strength in numbers. And we have got a freaking army. We've got a huge muscle to flex. But that is meaningless unless everybody out there, including and especially you, do those actions. You know, we've got to act as a whole. We've got to be rowing in the same direction. You can't sit and wait and watch and worry and hope that because we've got so many people on our group that somebody else is going to pull your weight for you. It doesn't work that way. You got to put your own time in on this block, as they said in that movie Training Day towards the end. So we need you guys. We need you. And you need everybody else to help. That's kind of how that works. Hey, Evelyn, Lara Ferris has a comment. She says, got a letter today from the White House saying, among other things, that Biden is committed to provide $10K on student relief. Yeah, I'm sorry, Evelyn, but that's nonsense. What Biden is talking about is getting Congress to pass a $10,000 loan cancellation. And there's two big problems with that. The first big problem is that for Congress to cancel even $1 in student loans, it has to raise $1. So if they want to cancel $10,000 in loans for every person, they're going to have to raise something like $400 billion in tax or cutting from other programs. $400 billion so that they can pay to get these loans canceled. And that's nonsense. Biden knows it's nonsense. Everybody in Washington, D.C. knows it's nonsense. It's not going to happen. And quite frankly, it shouldn't happen because the federal government already paid for these loans. And they didn't pay $10,000 per borrower or whatever that comes out to. No. The taxpayers own these loans right now. They funded these loans many years ago. There's no good reason for them to have to pay again, and far more than twice, by the way, because of all the interest and fees and everything that's been added onto the loan since they initially made the loan. No good reason for the taxpayers to have to shell out another $400 billion so that the people in Washington, D.C. can cross out that line item. The people in Washington, D.C. can cross out that line item without needing a penny, not a dime from the U.S. Treasury, not a nickel from the taxpayers, and without adding a penny to the national debt. So don't believe that nonsense that Biden is spewing right now. I hope that President Biden will come around. I think he will. But I think a lot of that depends on how hard we, the people, push him. And this group right here, Evelyn, this is ground zero. I kid you not. We would not have a bankruptcy bill in Congress but for our group. I seriously don't think that student loan cancellation by executive order would be even a thing right now, but for the fact that we started that petition back in March 2020. We were essentially a voice in the wilderness for months and months and months until finally Senators Warren and Schumer picked up that concept. So we're it, guys. We're the tip of the spear. And I can only hope that everybody out there within the sound of my voice is going to take this fight that we're in, that we are the tip of the spear in, very seriously, because we need you and you need us. So I'm just going to repeat maybe for the last time tonight. Go to our website. Do the past month or 2 months worth of our daily actions. It will help tremendously. And don't be distracted by the nonsense that, like what Evelyn just put up. Don't be distracted by what you read in the media and what you see these press releases come out, all this happy talk or nonsense, political nonsense talk. Don't even trip on any of that, guys. We've got the battle is clear for us, and we know exactly what we're doing to get this problem solved. We're off to a great start. We could have these loans gone by Christmas, theoretically. But we need your help. So, all right, guys, I'm going to leave it there at that. If you have any questions or comments after the fact, I will respond to them as I can see them after the fact. But by all means, log them, and we'll respond to them if and when we see them. So, okay, folks, have a great night. Very last thing I'll say is you can go to the website and donate. That would be very helpful at this particular time. studentloanjustice.org/donate.html. We're needing to raise just a little bit of money, like about $400, $500 at this point, so that we can greatly expand our email list, which turns out to be quite an expensive thing. So if you can help there, please do it. Okay, folks. So let's make this a very strong week. Thanks again for all your support. Start thinking about this. Slexit, it's a thing. It's not a strike. It's student loan exit, and that may be in the offing. So with that, I'm just going to wish everybody a great week. Hang in there. Hang tough. Keep fighting. Godspeed. Do our daily actions. God bless everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. Ed will be back on Tuesday. Peace.